Okay, yeah, so side seams of our pants, it's the same thing. If we're gonna open our hips all the way, just as shoulders follow shoulder seams, well, our leg bones, the upper leg bone called the femur, and our hip, you know, the crest of the pelvis on the side, will follow the side seams of the pants because they're just placed on our hips, man. And down the sides of our legs, you know, the seam travels. And then we've got, watch this, Earth's gravity, right? Gravity will just pull the side seam straight down from wherever it's connected to the hip. So it needs to be right at the very side of the hip, front to back. Otherwise, gravity will pull the seam down in front of our bodies. If the seams on the sides of our pants are sitting like in front and not at the very sides of our hips, then when gravity pulls down on the side seams of the pants, it'll just take our pelvis into an anterior rotation. Okay, if the side seams of our pants were sitting farther behind the sides of our hips, gravity would essentially just open our hips more, really. I mean, we want our side seams to be right at the very edges of our hips, but it's just like we want our pant waistline to be just about exactly horizontal, you know, even front to back with Earth's vertical gravity pull. But if we put the pant waistline very slightly higher in the front than the rear, we just open our hips even more, really. I mean, really. You still want it to be basically exactly horizontal, okay, ideally, but yeah, it's very slightly higher in the front. This would essentially be like us having our pant side seams just being very slightly farther behind, okay, the very sides of our hip crest and the very sides of our leg bones. It would actually essentially open our hips even more if the side seams of our pants went behind the sides of our hips, but we really do want them just right at the very sides, okay? We've just got sides to the body. It's the bones, man. It's the shape of the crest of the hip. You just have to have the side seams of the pants. Well, you can see where these ones are on these pants that I'm wearing. Just right at the very sides of the hips. It's also the very side of the leg bone, the upper leg bone, the femur, okay? So excess material in the front of pants, yeah, it's gonna pull the side seams of the pants forward, in front, okay, of the hips. And so now, like I'm saying, we just close off the hips, but it doesn't stop there. The human body is a kinetic chain. Yeah, I mean, you affect the feet, you affect everything to the tip of the head and the tips of the fingers. You affect the hips, you affect everything down to the tips of the toes and up to the tip of the head, out to the tips of the fingers. Keep in mind, the jaw's in between here, stabilizing the entire body through all this. And everything in the body is playing its own role to stabilize and just do all the functions it does. But we affect the hands, and we affect everything out to the other hand, from one hand or up to the tip of the head, down to the tips of the feet, at the toes, you know, through the hips. You affect anything in the body, you affect everything in the body is the point. But if you affect the hips, well, they're in the center of the body, top to bottom. We hip hinge or we bend forward at the hips. At the pelvis, you know, where we're talking about these side seams sitting right on the very sides of the crest, meaning the tallest part, the farthest out to the side part on either side of the hips, the crest of the hips on the sides, okay, following down that upper leg bone called the femur. This is where the side seams of our pants need to sit, okay? And that's why. Is because mechanics of the shape and length of the bones of the human being that just grows for itself, the only way that it does that. So, in the Image Clothing Company's pant zipper modification, we just can't have excess material in the front, closing off the ability for the material to just open fully to get the side seams of the pants clear to the sides of our bodies. You know, you've got excess material here closing off the front that's not on the rear because the zipper's on the front, or whatever it is, any kind of design. You've got buttons there, or you've got anything that's just different, more material on the front of your pants, it's gonna just do this. pull the side seams of your pants in and forward, now you've closed off your hips, traveling up to the tip of your head, to the tips of your fingers, down to the tips of your toes, okay? Damage. So, In The Image Clothing Company's pant zipper modification. I'm not actually gonna do it in this video. I'm just gonna show what it is. We've got a video. It's, yeah, as of today's date, before now, right? Today's the 18th of April, 2026. Under In The Image Clothing Company, though, under our main site, we've got a video titled, yeah, In The Image Clothing Company, yeah, In The Image Clothing Company's pant zipper modification.